What you do today matters. It matters more than you think. Most folks don't realize that today, right now, this moment is the most important time of your life. Why? Because today is where your future begins. I want to tell you something that changed my life years ago. I learned that success is not something we chase after. Success is something we attract by the person we become and who we become. That's decided by what we do each day. You see, your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. And that change happens in the small moments of each day. The decisions you make when nobody's watching. The habits you form when it would be easier to take the day off. The books you read when others are watching television. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. Because the truth about your future might be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly simple. Your future is being created right now by what you're doing today. Let me ask you something. What did you do this morning? Did you get up early or hit the snooze button? Did you plan your day or let the day plan you? Did you feed your mind with something valuable or did you feed it with worry and complaints? These seemingly small choices, they're not small at all. They're everything. The choices you make today are creating your life 5 years from now. Your health, your bank account, your relationships, your happiness. They're all being shaped by what you're doing right now. Not next Monday. Not when you get that promotion. Not when you have more time. Now, that's what we're going to talk about. How to make today count. How to make sure that every single day is taking you toward the future you want, not away from it. Everything in your life right now, everything is a result of decisions you've made up until this point. Your bank account is a clear reflection of all your financial decisions. Your health is a reflection of all your eating and exercise decisions. Your relationships reflect the time and energy you've decided to invest. But here's where it gets interesting. Most of these decisions didn't feel significant when you made them. Eating that extra dessert, skipping that workout, putting off that important conversation, not saving that $50, watching TV instead of reading. The problem isn't that one poor decision ruins everything. The problem is that we repeat these decisions day after day and they compound. And the scary part? This happens so slowly that we barely notice it. Let me share something with you. In my early 20s, I was broke, not just a little short on cash, flat broke. And I remember asking my mentor, how do I change my financial situation? You know what he told me? He said, if you want to have more, you have to become more. I didn't understand it at first. I thought having more money would help me become more successful. But he was teaching me that it works the other way around. You have to invest in yourself first. So I started making different decisions each day. I decided to read for 30 minutes every morning. I decided to write down my goals. I decided to save a small percentage of everything I earned, even when it seemed impossible. None of these decisions changed my life overnight. But over time, the future you want doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens through small steps taken consistently. Consistency is the key. And consistency comes from decisions. Think about her this way. Just $5 a day, that's $25 in a year. In 10 years, with even modest interest, you've got over $20,000. But if you decided to spend that $5 on something trivial each day, you'd have nothing to show for it a decade later. The same principle applies to your health, your skills, your relationships. Small daily deposits create massive long-term results. So ask yourself, what decisions am I making today that I might regret 5 years from now? What decisions could I make today that I'll thank myself for 5 years from now? Remember, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. It's the repetition that makes the difference. Now, there's something crucial we need to talk about if you're serious about creating a better future. And that's taking responsibility. Taking total responsibility for your life is the most powerful step you can take toward creating your future. Most people want to blame something or someone for their lack of progress. The economy, their boss, their background, their spouse, the weather. But here's a truth that might sting a little. Successful people take responsibility. Unsuccessful people place blame. There's a story I like to tell about two salespeople who work for a shoe company. They're sent to a remote island to assess the market potential. The first one calls back and says, "This is a terrible market. Nobody wears shoes here." The second one calls back excited and says, "This is an amazing opportunity. Nobody wears shoes here." Same circumstances, different perspective, different future. When you take responsibility, you take back power. You're saying, I create my life, not the circumstances around me. That's when real change begins to happen. And you know what? Taking responsibility feels good. It's liberating. Because once you accept that you create your life, you realize you can create anything you want. Ask yourself, where in my life am I playing the victim? Where am I waiting for someone else to fix my problems? Where am I blaming circumstances instead of changing my approach? You might be thinking, but what about things that truly aren't my fault? Look, I understand there are circumstances beyond your control, but here's the key distinction. You always control your response, always. And your response determines your results. Did you lose your job? That might not be your fault. But what you do next is entirely your responsibility. Do you wallow in self-pity, or do you use this as an opportunity to find something better? Do you blame the economy, or do you improve your skills to become more valuable? Taking responsibility doesn't mean taking blame. It means taking control of what happens next. I remember meeting a young man who grew up in terrible circumstances, poverty, violence, abandonment. But he refused to let his past determine his future. He said to me, I didn't choose how I started, but I can choose how I finish. Today, he's one of the most successful people I know. Not because his circumstances were good, but because his choices were good. Your past does not equal your future unless you live there. Today, right now, you can make a decision that will change the direction of your life. You can decide that from this moment forward. You're responsible for your results. Let's talk about something precious, something you can never get back once it's gone. Your time. How you use your time today is how you create your future. We all have the same 24 hours. No one gets more. Not the billionaires, not the geniuses, not the famous. Everyone gets the same amount. The difference is in how they invest those hours. I say invest deliberately, because that's what successful people do with time. They don't spend time, they don't pass time, they invest time and they expect a return on that investment. Think about your typical day. How much of it is investment and how much is consumption? Watching TV is consumption. Reading a book that improves your skills is investment. Scrolling through social media is consumption. Planning your week is investment. Complaining about problems is consumption. Solving problems is investment. I'm not suggesting you need to be productive every minute. Rest is essential. Relationships are vital. Enjoyment matters. But these should be conscious choices, not default modes because you haven't planned anything better. Successful people manage their time like they manage their money. They budget, they prioritize, they eliminate waste, they focus on high return activities. There's a simple exercise that can change your life. For 1 week, track how you spend every hour. Be honest. At the end of the week, look at where your time went. Ask yourself, is this how someone who's creating an incredible future would spend their time? Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. That's because they don't appreciate the power of time invested consistently in the right activities. 30 minutes of reading each day equals 182 hours of education in a year. That's equivalent to 4 college courses. 1 hour of exercise 5 days a week equals 260 hours of physical investment in a year. Small investments of time, huge returns. You've probably heard the saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Time will pass anyway. The question is, what will you have to show for it? I challenge you to look at your calendar for this week. Does it reflect your priorities? Does it move you toward your goals? Or is it filled with other people's priorities? Remember this. Either you control your time or someone else will. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Choose wisely. Now let's talk about something that separates the dreamers from the achievers. Discipline. I know. It's not the most exciting word, but without it, dreams stay dreams. Discipline is doing what? You should do, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's going to the gym when you'd rather stay in bed. It's saving money when you'd rather spend it. It's working on your business when you'd rather watch. Most people wait to feel motivated before they take action. But here's the truth, action comes first, then motivation, not the other way around. I learned years ago that we must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. Think about the last time you pushed through resistance to do something difficult. How did you feel afterward? Probably pretty good, right? That's because discipline creates confidence, and confidence fuels more discipline. It's a beautiful cycle. The key to discipline isn't willpower. It's systems, it's creating environments that make good choices easier and bad choices harder. Want to read more? Keep books visible in your home. Want to eat healthier? Stock your kitchen with nutritious foods. Want to save more? Set up automatic transfers to your savings account. The most disciplined people aren't necessarily the most motivated. They're the ones who've built systems that make discipline automatic. And here's something important. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. You won't be perfect. You'll have days when you fail. The question is, do you get back on track quickly, or do you let one failure become a permanent derailment? I remember talking to an Olympic athlete about training. I asked, do you love training every day? He laughed and said, no. I'd say, I only feel like training about 30 of the time, but I train 100 of the time. That's discipline. That's why he's an Olympian. The discipline you build today creates freedom tomorrow. The hard choices now create easy living later. It's paying the price up front for a lifetime of dividends. Ask yourself, what area of my life needs more discipline right now? What one habit, if developed, would create the biggest positive change in my future? Now let's talk about something that multiplies everything else we've discussed. Something that can accelerate your progress and expand your possibilities. The person you become in 5 years depends on two things: the people you meet and the books you read. Both expose you to new ideas, new perspectives, new possibilities. Most people stop learning when they finish school. Big mistake. In a world that's changing faster than ever, continuous learning isn't optional. It's essential. And here's the good news. Learning has never been more accessible. You don't need permission. You don't need a huge budget. You just need curiosity and commitment. I made a decision early in my life to be a student, not a follower, to learn from everyone but think for myself. That decision changed everything for me. Start with books. Leaders are readers. The average American reads less than 1 book per year. The average CEO reads 60. Reading gives you access to the best minds in history. For $20 and a few hours of your time, you can absorb what took someone a lifetime to learn. What a bargain. But don't just read. Apply. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. After you read something valuable, ask yourself, beyond books, seek out mentors and teachers. Find people who have what you want and learn from them. Ask questions, listen carefully, apply what works for you. The people around you matter enormously. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their habits, their mindsets, their incomes, it all rubs off on you. Take a look at your 5 closest friends. Are they pulling you up or pushing you down? Do they challenge you or comfort you in mediocrity? This isn't about judging others. It's about honestly assessing influences. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. Not everyone in your life should have a lifetime ticket. Some people are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Know the difference. Growth also requires stepping outside your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of progress. If you're not occasionally feeling uncomfortable, you're not growing. Try something new every month. Take a class, attend a seminar, visit a new place, meet new people. Your brain forms new connections when you have new experiences. And don't forget about reflection. Growth isn't just about accumulating experiences. It's about learning from them. Take time to think about what worked, what didn't, and why. Keep a journal. Ask yourself good questions. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the commitment to lifelong growth. Because as you grow, your future expands. Let's get practical for a moment. Let's talk about setting goals. Because without clear goals, you're just drifting. And drifters rarely like where they end up. I believe in writing goals down. There's magic in putting pen to paper. It transforms vague wishes into clear targets. Research shows you're 42 more likely to achieve goals you've written down. But here's where most people go wrong with goals. They focus only on the outcome, not on the process. They say, I want to lose 20 pounds, but they don't establish the daily habits that will get them there. Success is not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not what you do once in a while. It's what you do every day that shapes your future. When setting goals, follow this formula. Be specific, make them measurable, ensure they're achievable, keep them relevant to your values, and attach a time frame. In other words, make them SMART. Instead of, I want to be financially secure, try will save $10,000 this year by setting aside $200 from each weekly paycheck and reducing my dining out expenses by $50. See the difference? The second goal gives you a clear path. It tells you exactly what to do today, this week, this month. Balance is important too. Set goals in multiple areas of life: financial, physical, relational, spiritual, intellectual. $1 million in the bank won't make up for poor health or broken relationship. Review your goals regularly, daily, weekly, monthly. This keeps them front of mind. It helps you stay on track and make adjustments when necessary. And celebrate your progress. Most people wait until they've achieved the final goal to feel good about themselves. That's a mistake. Celebrate the milestones along the way. Each step forward deserves acknowledgement. Remember this, goals aren't just about getting things. They're about becoming someone. The person you become in pursuit of your goals is often more valuable than the achievement itself. Now let's address something inevitable on the path to creating your future. Obstacles, setbacks, failures. They're coming. The question isn't if, but when and how you'll respond. Most people let obstacles stop them. They hit the first roadblock and say, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Successful people see obstacles differently. They see them as tests, as growth opportunities, as chances to prove their commitment. I've never met a successful person who hasn't failed, often multiple times. The difference is they don't let failure define them. They let it refine them. When you face an obstacle, ask yourself these questions. What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Is there an opportunity hidden in this problem? Persistence is crucial, the ability to keep going when others would quit. But persistence doesn't mean stubbornly doing the same thing repeatedly. It means maintaining the goal while changing the approach. I remember failing in business early in my career. I could have concluded that business wasn't for me. Instead, I concluded that I needed more knowledge, better skills, and a revised strategy. The goal remained. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward, using setbacks to fuel growth rather than discourage it. And here's something important. Anticipate obstacles. What could go wrong? How will I respond if it does? This isn't negative thinking. It's strategic thinking. The obstacles you face today are preparing you for the future you want. They're building your character, your resilience, your creativity. They're making you the person who can handle the success you seek. Every successful person I've met can point to moments when they wanted to quit but didn't. Those moments defined their journey. They will define yours too. Let's talk about something that influences your future perhaps more than anything else. The people around you, your relationships, the company you keep. No one succeeds alone. Behind every achievement are relationships that made it possible. Mentors who guided, friends who supported, partners who collaborated, customers who trusted. There's an old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Your future depends not just on what you do, but on who you do it with. First, evaluate your current relationships honestly. Some add value, others drain it. Some lift you up, others pull you down. This isn't about being judgmental, it's about being intentional. You don't need to end relationships that aren't ideal, but you might need to manage their influence. Spend less time with energy drainers. Set boundaries with chronic complainers. Limit exposure to those who undermine your goals. Meanwhile, invest heavily in positive relationships. Seek out mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Find peers who share your ambitions and values. Build a personal board of directors, people whose wisdom you trust and whose feedback you value. And don't forget to be the kind of person others want to associate with. Bring value to every relationship. Be curious about others. Listen more than you speak. Celebrate others' successes. Support them during struggles. The quality of your network often determines the quality of your opportunities. Your next big break probably won't come from a stranger. It will come from someone who knows and trusts you. Networking isn't about collecting contacts. It's about building relationships. Focus on depth, not just breadth. A few strong connections are worth more than hundreds of superficial ones. And remember this, the best way to build your network is to solve problems for others. Be useful. Be helpful. Give without expectation of return. The law of reciprocity is powerful. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they heading where you want to go? Do they challenge you to be better? Do they expand your thinking or limit it? You're becoming like those people, whether you realize it or not. Choose your influences wisely. So here we are. We've talked about the power of daily decisions, taking responsibility, using time wisely, building discipline, continuous learning, setting goals, overcoming obstacles, nurturing relationships. Let me ask you, what will you do with this information? Will you nod in agreement and then continue exactly as before? Or will you let today be the day that changes the trajectory of your life? Your future is created by what you do today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Start small if you need to. Remember, success is sequential, not simultaneous. You don't need to transform everything at once. Pick one area and make one change. Take one step. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes before bed instead of scrolling through your phone. Maybe it's saving a small percentage of your income. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's signing up for that class you've been considering. Whatever it is, do it today, not someday, today. And when you wake up tomorrow, do it again, and the next day, and the next. Small actions, repeated consistently, create massive results over time. The beautiful thing about creating your future is that you can start from anywhere. It doesn't matter where you've been. It matters where you're going. It doesn't matter what you've done. It matters what you're doing now. 5 years from now, you'll arrive somewhere. The question is, will it be by design or by default? Will you create your future, or will you accept whatever comes? You have the power to change your life. You have the ability to become more than you are today. You have the opportunity right now, this minute, to take the first step toward the future you want. Don't wait for the perfect moment. This is it. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Start with what you know now. Don't wait until you feel ready. Action creates readiness. Remember, this time will pass anyway. 5 years from now, you'll be 5 years older. The question is, what else will be different? Will you have the same problems, the same frustrations, the same limitations? Or will you have created something new, something better, something that reflects your true potential? I believe in you. I believe you have greatness within you. I believe you can create an extraordinary future. But belief isn't enough. Belief must be followed by action. So let me leave you with this challenge. Decide today what you want your future to look like. Get clear about it. Write it down. And then do one thing, just one thing. That moves you in that direction. Tomorrow, do another thing. And the next day, another. Before long, you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. You'll see how the small decisions you made each day compounded into remarkable changes. You'll understand firsthand that your future truly is created by what you do today. The choice is yours. It always has been. What will you do today? Then remember something important. You don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. Too many people are waiting to feel confident before they begin. That's backwards thinking. Confidence comes from action, not before action. Look at any successful person you admire. They didn't start with all the answers. They started with a decision to begin. They were willing to be awkward, to make mistakes, to learn as they went. They understood that perfection is the enemy of progress. I often meet people who tell me what they're going to do someday. Someday they'll start that business. Someday they'll write that book. Someday they'll repair that relationship. But someday isn't a day of the week. It's not on any calendar. The gap between knowing and doing is often wider than the gap between ignorance and knowledge. Most people know what they should do. Question is, will you do what you know? Your life will be defined not by what you intended to do, not by what you planned to do, not by what you wanted to do, but by what you actually did. Good intentions without action lead to ordinary lives. Good intentions with consistent action lead to extraordinary lives. So let me ask you one final time. What will you do today to create the future you desire? Not what will you plan, not what will you think about, what will you do? Because in the end, that's all that matters. Your actions tell the true story of your priorities, your beliefs, and your commitment to your future.